All right, so today we're diving into something that might seem a little counterintuitive in our increasingly digital world.
Yeah.
We're talking about cash. You know, those bills and coins that we've almost forgotten about.
Right. It feels like everyone just assumed that cashless is the only way forward.
Exactly. But we're going to challenge that assumption a bit today. We're looking at an article called The Case for Cash: Why Physical Money Matters in a Card-Dominated World.
Yeah, it's a fascinating look at the hidden costs and often overlooked benefits of using good old-fashioned cash.
You know, one thing that really jumped out at me was the whole issue of transaction fees. Like, I knew businesses had to pay them when customers use cards, but I never really thought about how those fees affect me as a consumer.
It's easy to overlook, right? It's just this tiny percentage that gets tacked on to each purchase.
Right, exactly.
But think about it. The article gives this example. You buy something for £50, and there's a seemingly small 1.5% transaction fee.
Okay.
So the seller, they only actually receive £49.25 of that.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
And those little fees, they add up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, think about all the times you use your card in a week. Coffee, groceries, online shopping.
Yeah, all the time.
It can really make a dent in your budget over time.
Yeah.
And it's money that's going straight to the banks and payment processors.
It's like this hidden cost that we're all paying without even realizing it.
Exactly. And often businesses, they have to raise their prices to compensate for those fees, which ultimately means we all end up paying more.
That makes total sense.
With cash, though, you hand over the money and the recipient gets the full amount.
Right. No middleman taking a cut.
No hidden costs.
And speaking of things we don't always think about, what about data privacy? Every time we swipe a card, we're leaving this digital trail of our spending habits.
Right. And it's a concern, right? It's valuable data.
Definitely.
Companies can use it for targeted advertising, which, that's one thing.
Sure.
But they can also sell it to third parties, potentially without us even knowing.
It's a little unsettling to think about all that information floating around out there.
It is. And then, of course, there's always the risk of data breaches.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
With cash, you get anonymity. There's no digital footprint. You pay, and it's like the transaction never even happened from a data perspective.
It's like a trade-off, isn't it? The convenience of digital versus the privacy and security of cash.
Exactly. And it's interesting because there's research that suggests that paying with cash might actually change how we spend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they call it tangibility, meaning like the physical act of handing over money. It creates this stronger sense of accountability.
Oh, so like when you tap a card, it doesn't feel as real, so you're more likely to overspend.
That's the idea. Studies have shown that people tend to spend more liberally with cards, like there's this psychological disconnect.
Right, you don't actually see the money leaving your hands.
Exactly, but with cash, you feel it leaving your wallet.
Yeah.
It's this constant, visible reminder of your spending.
It's funny, when I pay with cash, I'm much more aware of every dollar.
Yeah.
I really think twice about those impulse buys.
Yeah. It's a powerful psychological trick, that's for sure.
It is. I'm definitely going to be more mindful of that now.
Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about how our choice of payment affects small businesses.
Okay, I'm curious about this.
Those transaction fees we talked about, they actually hit smaller businesses the hardest.
Oh, wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah. Big corporations, they can negotiate lower rates, but smaller businesses, they're stuck with those higher fees.
So if I choose to pay with cash at my local coffee shop, I'm actually helping them keep more of their earnings.
Exactly. It could mean they can lower prices, maybe invest in better equipment, maybe even hire more people, all of which benefits the community.
I love that. It's like a win-win for everyone.
It is, but let's go a bigger picture for a second.
Yep.
It's not just about personal preference, right? This cash versus cashless debate, it has implications for economic equality, too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, think about it. Not everyone has access to bank accounts or credit cards. A completely cashless society would exclude millions of people.
It's true. I never considered that.
Yeah, but cash is universal. Anyone can use it, no matter their background.
It's like this safety net that ensures everyone can participate in the economy.
Exactly. Okay, ready for something even more dramatic.
Oh, yeah. Get me with it.
What happens in an emergency? Like, imagine a natural disaster or a cyber attack that wipes out electronic payment systems.
Okay, that's a scary thought.
Yeah, right? No ATMs, no card transactions. You're cut off from your money.
Oh, wow. That would be awful.
But cash still works. Power outages, internet disruptions, none of that matters.
It's like the ultimate backup plan.
It is. Having some cash on hand could be the difference between getting what you need and being stuck.
I'm starting to see why they call cash the king in a crisis.
Right. And here's another thought. Cash acts as a way to balance power.
Not sure I follow you on that one.
Okay, so the more we rely on a few big financial institutions for every transaction, the more control they have over our financial lives.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
If those systems fail or get corrupted, we're in trouble, right? But with cash, we maintain some autonomy.
Right, we have options.
It's like checks and balances for the financial world.
This is all so eye-opening. We've covered transaction fees, data privacy, supporting small businesses, financial inclusion, crisis preparedness, and now balancing power, all from the perspective of using cash. It really makes you think twice about reaching for that card every time.
It really does, but we're just scratching the surface here.
There's so much more to explore.
So much more. Let's take a moment to digest all of this, and then we'll dive even deeper. This whole deep dive is making me think about how we always assume progress means moving towards a cashless society.
Yeah.
But we don't often talk about choice and diversity in how we manage our money.
That's an interesting way to put it. Like, we're told there's only one right way to do things.
Exactly. And with cash, it's like a whole separate system. It exists outside of banks, payment processors, even governments.
It's kind of like those dystopian sci-fi movies where one big corporation controls everything, right?
The more we rely on a few companies for our financial transactions, the more vulnerable we become to their decisions.
So cash is like a safeguard against that.
Exactly. It keeps those institutions in check.
It's about having options.
It's about maintaining control over our own financial lives.
It's not just about convenience, then. It's about freedom, too.
You got it. The choice to use cash is about participating in a system that protects us from putting all our eggs in one basket.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
What about the arguments against cash? Like, it's dirty, it's easy to lose, and it's not great for big purchases.
Those are fair points.
Yeah.
But let's look at them one by one. First, the hygiene thing. Yeah, cash can carry bacteria.
Right.
But studies have shown that our phones and credit cards are just as bad, if not worse.
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about it. We touch those things all day long.
It's true, they go everywhere with us.
So it's more about personal hygiene than the form of payment itself.
Good point.
Okay, what about the risks of loss or theft? Sure, it's easier to lose cash.
Right.
But there are ways to protect ourselves. Carry only what you need, use a secure wallet, be aware of your surroundings.
It's like you would with anything valuable.
Exactly. Now, efficiency. Yeah, digital payments are way more practical for big purchases.
Like a house or a car.
Right. But most of our daily transactions are pretty small.
Coffee, groceries, stuff like that.
That's where cash is really efficient.
And where those fees can really add up.
Exactly. It's not about rejecting digital altogether. It's about finding a balance.
Using the right tool for the right job.
I like that. The right tool for the right job.
This whole conversation is making me think about how we just blindly adopt new technologies sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't always stop to think about the trade-offs.
It's so important to be critical, to ask ourselves, what are we giving up for the sake of convenience?
What got you interested in this whole cash thing in the first place?
Well, I've always been fascinated by the history of money. How we went from bartering to coins to paper to digital.
It's quite a journey.
It is. And as I learned more, I realized how money shapes our societies.
It affects everything.
It does. And for me, cash represents something special. It's tangible.
You could hold it in your hand.
Right. It reminds us that money is ultimately about human relationships.
About trust and value.
When you hand someone cash, there's this connection.
It feels more personal than tapping a card.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this debate so interesting. It's not just about payment methods. It's about our values.
What's important to it?
Do we prioritize efficiency or privacy? Control or convenience?
There's no easy answer, is there?
It's about finding the balance that works for us as individuals and as a society.
This has been so eye-opening.
Me too. I'm really glad we could have this conversation.
So where do we go from here? What should our listeners think about?
Be mindful of your choices. Think about the costs, the benefits, who's really profiting from your decisions.
And it's bigger than just us as individuals, right?
Of course. We need to have these conversations as a society. How do we create financial systems that are fair, equitable, resilient?
Sounds like we need a whole other episode to unpack that.
Maybe we do. But for now, I hope this has encouraged our listeners to be more conscious about their choices.
To be informed and engaged.
Exactly. We're all in this together.
We want to hear from you, our listeners. What are your thoughts on all this?
Have you changed your mind about cash?
Share your thoughts with us online.
We're all learning and evolving together.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, Stay curious and stay engaged. Through all this talk about cash and digital payments,
Yeah.
it makes me think about how much money is, like it gives them a sense of control.
Exactly. Makes them feel more secure.
While someone who's always been financially stable might be more open to digital payments.
Right. They see the convenience.
It's like our experiences shape how we view money.
Definitely. And it goes even deeper.
Oh, yeah.
Different cultures view money in different ways.
That's so true. Like some cultures prioritize saving.
Right. While others focus on spending and enjoying it.
It affects everything.
From budgeting to investing to even how much we donate.
Okay. I guess it's all connected, huh?
Our relationship with money is this complex mix of personal experiences, cultural influences, and societal norms.
So we have to remember that when we talk about the future of money.
Exactly. It's not just about finding the most efficient solution.
It's about the human element.
The psychology behind our choices.
I think that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating.
Me too. It's not just about cash versus digital. It's about what kind of world we want to create.
One where technology empowers us,
Right.
not controls us.
And where we have the freedom to choose what works best for us.
This deep dive has been such a journey.
Yeah.
It's not just about payments. It's about what money means to us.
To our lives, to our societies.
So, to our listeners, I want to say this.
Yeah.
Be curious.
Be critical.
And be empowered.
The future of finance is in our hands.
Let's shape it together.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.